Today on The Big Impact, we get your new year off to a new start with a unique idea, a brand new company, a brand new app that addresses every aspect of your life. And we have the founder with us. The program is called Shape and Foster, and the founder is Callum McGuigan, who joins us from Toronto to kind of launch things. Callum, as you and I talk in the early part of January, and a lot of people are considering their pathway for the coming months. So welcome. It's good to see you.
Hi, Bill. Thank you very much for having me. Really excited to be on A Big Impact. I've listened to a few of your other interviews, and you're an awesome interviewer, and I'm looking forward to everything that you've got for me right now.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think the cool part about this idea that you have been working so hard to launch is that for everybody in that New Year's resolution mindset, Shape and Foster has a long-term solution for, I think, about every area of life. So let's kick things off by having you define what Shape and Foster is. It's not a law firm. It's the name of the app.
Yeah, so Shape and Foster is a lifestyle development app. It's also available in web browser. You pay for a membership, and in turn, you're taken on a 12-month journey of lifestyle development from 6 experts, each of who have curated courses specifically for Shape and Foster. So the 6 experts are in areas important to a healthy heart and a healthy mind. Obviously, there's more areas that could be part of this, but we had to kind of narrow the focus down, and we went with an athletic trainer. We have Ty McDonald, who's on the show later. He's our athletic trainer. We have a nutritionist, a mental health professional, a life coach, who is Christina Rowland, who's also on the show today, a financial expert, and a yoga instructor. Every 30 days, new course material becomes available in the app, and all content is consumed via video. So essentially, you've got 20 minutes from each expert to consume every single month. So if you can give up 2 to 3 hours of time every single month, it's going to have a positive impact on your well-being, your physical, your mental wellness, and it's going to bring you on this holistic journey.
Now, as you can hear from Callum's very thick Texan accent, no, I'm just kidding, he's from Scotland. I want to make sure you all understand there are 6 experts, not sex experts. Very different app altogether.
Yeah, very different app.
and Callum, I think the logical question to ask as we kind of dig into the introduction of Shape and Foster is, how in the world did you come to this idea? This is complicated to put together in the form of an app with all this video content. Why do it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of went through my own journey of personal development in the last 2 years, and that kind of coincided with also, I'm a business owner. I've always been an entrepreneur. I had an events marketing agency for 11 years. But the last 2 years, I kind of stopped enjoying that work. So it all kind of coincided, selling my business in July, Fervent Events, the events marketing agency, my own personal development journey, and wanting to create something that was more mission-based, essentially, a mission-based company that is going to provide more of a positive impact on people than a marketing agency did.
Yeah, it's one thing to be successful in a way that impacts yourself, but I think it has to be a lot more rewarding to be successful in a venture that impacts other people for the better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in a position where if we, for example, with the events marketing agency, I had an opportunity with like a big tobacco company. It was a $12 million contract. Had we won that business, that's a massive piece of business, but would I have felt good about marketing big tobacco and encouraging smoking and vaping and stuff? No, absolutely not. I want to have more of a positive impact on society. So that's what Shape and Foster is going to do. It's going to provide people information as to health improvements, nutrition, understanding their emotions more, their mental wellness more, getting them fitter via yoga and fitness, understanding finance more. Like so much of life is dealt with retroactively. Shape and Foster is going to be a proactive approach to lifestyle and personal development. I Googled anxiety after my first ever anxiety attack. I learned about mortgages and interest rates on the job of purchasing my first house. I'm looking into nutrition right now because nutrition's not very good. So much of life is dealt with retroactively, and Shape and Foster is going to be a proactive approach that kind of enables you to improve your well-being before it potentially gets to a stage that you're seeking this retroactive help.
And it's that moment when it clicks in, right? When it goes from being theoretical lesson learning to, as you described with your son, something that you actually employ in everyday life.
Exactly.
We're going to take a break here on The Big Impact. Our guest is Callum McGuigan. He's the founder of Shape and Foster, a lifestyle app that has the potential to address really every aspect of your life. And when we come back, we have a coach joining us. I don't know if she has a whistle, a clipboard, a bullhorn, if she's going to make us do push-ups, but Christina Rowland, our life coach from Shape and Foster, will join us when we return here on The Big Impact. We continue now on The Big Impact, introducing all of you to Shape and Foster, an app, a program for every aspect of your life. As you launch 2021, you have the potential to do it in a way that could really overhaul every angle, every aspect of your life. We spent the last few moments visiting with the founder, Callum McGuigan, and he is now going to introduce our coach, our life coach, Christina. Callum, who is this lady?
So Christina Rowland is in Washington, D.C. She's our life coach. There's a real authenticity around everything that Christina has to say. Her month one video in Shape and Foster, I think, runs for 15 minutes, and I was just blown away by the amount of information and knowledge that was coming at me. And some of the feedback we've had from Christina's program has just been up there with the best of the feedback we've had so far. So I don't want to dominate the airtime here. I want Christina to get talking because she's going to fill up your cup, which is what she talks about in month one. She's going to fill it up right now and tell you guys all about everything that's good with her life coach and consultant.
Well, Christina, it's great to have you joining us on the program, and you're chiming in from Chicago, which is again the marvelous world of Zoom technology that we have. And the first question that I have for you is, what is a life coach?
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me. So there are a lot of different types of life coaching out there. I'd say that not everyone has exactly the same style, but the type of life coaching that I do is ontological life coaching, which means that I focus on your being. So I think when most people think of life coaches, they think of someone who's kind of telling them what to do and when to do it and how to get your life together, how to get organized, that kind of thing. But my style is more focused on who you are as a person, how you show up in the world, how you want to show up in the world, and the future that you want to create for your life. And the way that I explain it is that, oftentimes we set goals and we often struggle to get there. And rather than addressing the underlying reasons why we struggle to get there, we kind of give up or try again and again without any success. So the way that I explain it is, for example, if you want to lose weight or something, you could give someone all of the information that they need, the nutrition, the strength, everything like that. But if you don't actually help them address their relationship to those things, their relationship to food, their relationship to working out, their relationship to their body, it might not stick. And it often doesn't, right? That's why even with Shape and Foster, that's why I was so excited about the app, because it brings all of these elements together where you're giving the nutrition, the strength and everything, but also addressing all the underlying things that you feel about yourself and your body and your person and everything going on with your life. So that's basically the root of what I do, is addressing the underlying thoughts, patterns, behaviors that we have that impact the way that we go into the rest of the areas of our lives.
How did that become your focus in life? I'm always curious about the what we would call the origin story of how someone followed the passion that they have. This is a passion you don't run into very often. Where did it come from?
Yeah. So I have a little bit of a weird background. I've jumped around a little bit, but long story short, I was working in consulting for a couple of years, and I was really unhappy. I really felt unfulfilled. I saw a lot of waste of time and money going on, and I was just really unhappy with what I was doing. And I felt like I wasn't really impacting people in any positive way. And unfortunately, my mom passed away suddenly 3 years ago. And that kind of, as it does for many people, made me reevaluate my life and the things that I was doing. And so I took a leap and decided to leave consulting with no real plan. And after kind of exploring different options for a while, I happened to get introduced to someone who was a life coach at the time, who ended up becoming my coach through this program that I ended up doing to become a life coach. But essentially it all kind of fell together. But I've always been that person that people, my friends go to for advice and things like that. So it felt like a natural fit at first. And then going into the program, it was just completely life-changing for me personally. And in this program that I did, you not only train to become a coach, but you go through the work yourself as well. So it was really hugely impactful for me, and I'm so happy with where I'm at now. It's really cool.
I think one of the big question marks that an audience member might have is, what is it really like when I decide to engage in Shape and Foster, when I decide to engage with 6 different coaches in my monthly schedule? So from the life coach standpoint, what would be a sample of some of the input that you would deliver, even in maybe this first month? Callum mentioned that the first month was just really powerful stuff. What kind of stuff was there?
Yeah, so the first month is focused all on well-being. As a coach, I believe that your own well-being, physical, mental, everything is the foundation for your life. If you think about it, when we don't feel well, we don't really perform well, and we really don't have great days if we're not feeling well about ourselves, again, either physically or mentally. So the really cool thing about it, as I mentioned, is that, through Ty and the other experts, you get the information that you need to help with your physical well-being, like nutrition and strength training and stuff like that. It all ties together. And then as well, doing the mental well-being with me and the therapist and everything like that. So I talked a lot about how, I guess how I put it, how we need to prioritize ourselves. Often we allow our priorities to go from family, work, friends, all this stuff before we prioritize ourselves, and we end up putting ourselves at the bottom. So part of well-being is prioritizing yourself, filling your own cup first before you can pour it out to others. And that putting yourself first actually isn't a selfish act. Like, we think of being selfish as like a negative thing. It's actually something that's really powerful and just allows you to source every other area of your life. And allows every other relationship in your life to actually be better. So that was a big part of the first month. And that's kind of the foundation for everything else that we talk about. As I mentioned, we get to the root of your thoughts, behaviors, and patterns around pretty much every topic in your life. Throughout the year, other things I talk about are relationships, your relationship to time, your relationship to money. All these different things are impacted by the way that we feel about ourselves, actually. A lot of times it comes down to whether we believe we're worthy of earning a certain amount of money, of whether we believe we're worthy of having the relationships that we want, how much we love ourselves. And by taking care of your well-being first, you're actually showing yourself a lot of self-love that helps you kind of improve those other areas of your life as well.
As you say that, Christina, I'm absolutely certain that there is someone in our audience who perhaps had a very difficult run through the holidays. Maybe they spent that time alone, maybe for the first time ever, and spent time asking themselves, am I really worth anything? Maybe it was a relationship that fell apart. Perhaps someone passed away. Whatever the situation, I have to think that the holidays are a time when that question is asked internally, perhaps more than any other time during the year. What would you say to a person who is listening to this Shape and Foster discussion and wondering, how they're ever going to learn their own worth again, their own value.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're so right about that. But I would say, just like I just mentioned, it all starts with you. I think that our culture, our society puts a lot of emphasis on finding our worth externally, whether that's in our job success, whether that's in our relationships, our family relationships. We're often taught that being successful and popular and having a partner is what makes ourselves worthy. And it actually is the opposite. It actually all starts with you and inside of you. And so treating yourself, again, like taking care of your well-being and treating your own self with love, is what will show you that you are worthy of it, rather than looking for it externally all the time. So I would say, like, number one thing, and I'm sure a lot of people through the pandemic have started learning this and working on this, but like really working on like being alone and actually really enjoying it and taking the time to really get to know yourself. So many times we define ourselves by the way we act externally, as I mentioned, but even our behaviors or how we talk to people, things like that. And we often distract ourselves, like with phones and computers and even books and TV and things like that. We might be alone, but we're still super mentally distracted. So I think taking time for stillness, like using the Shape and Foster app even to like go through meditations, do some yoga, like look at some journal prompts, things like that, to actually get to know who you are from the inside out. And that will really help with that.
Callum, I was thinking about this as Christina was answering that question. We have a very quick tendency to connect to those that are providing tangible advice. And by that, I mean a nutritionist. We'd love to have somebody come in and tell us how to eat better. Or, as we'll hear from Ty McDonald in our final segment today, somebody who's an athletic trainer, and they can put together a regimen. You know, you can get this checklist, and on this day I need to do arms and back and leg, whatever, right? It's tangible. And yet the benefits of focusing on yourself, or just on getting better, as Christina's describing, I don't know if people are reluctant to think about that, but it sure seems important. What are you discovering as you meld together all of the different coaching aspects from your Shape and Foster team?
I think that the major discovery is community. Community is a massive part of the app. And I think that the conversations that are going to start to kind of come out with people saying, I've done this, or I've tried this, and getting somebody, a stranger really, that they do not know, but is also a member of the app, giving them like a cheers and commenting and saying, well done. I think that community is going to be a massive part of the journey, which really kind of merges all of these expertise together. And because it is almost like a bit of a social media feed. You do watch videos from all the experts, but you're all actually connected in this homepage, just like you are on a kind of Facebook or Instagram feed. And there's a real connectivity there. So when you were talking, Bill, for example, about being at home during the pandemic, and that being a difficult time, understandably, one thing that this allows, the app allows, is that feeling of togetherness. Other people are going to be learning at the same pace as you. Other people are coming into the app with the same vulnerability as you. I mean, like, I look at myself, as I mentioned earlier, like nutrition is something I've always massively struggled with. I mean, I've lived in Canada for 14 years. I can't really put it down to geography, but Glasgow is the heart disease capital of Europe. We eat a lot of fried foods, and there's definitely a lack of education around nutrition in Scotland, and I've carried that weight like with me. Not the physical weight, the weight of like not being skilled in the kitchen and having no knowledge about nutrition and all the rest of it. And then what comes from that, what breeds from that, is a lack of confidence. All of a sudden, I'm not confident to learn about nutrition or to cook meals or all the rest of it. However, with the community aspect of Shape and Foster, I'm actually honestly like at a position right now where I'm willing to learn about that to put it out there as to here's something I made, here's something I cooked, and just kind of be part of the community myself. So I think that's a kind of major discovery.
Phil, if you wouldn't mind me chiming in on that, actually, something that Callum said was, oftentimes there's a lot of shame around not knowing, right? Like not knowing about nutrition, not knowing about fitness. People are reluctant to seek help in a public way because there's shame around not knowing. And that's all from what we make things mean about ourselves, which is a huge part of my work. So, not making it mean anything about you that you don't know something. That all ties into this idea of like, you have to be the smartest, you have to be the most successful, you have to know everything in order to be worthy. Well, no, like, why does it matter if you don't know, right? Like, it's just a beautiful thing to like go get supported. And so that's a part of the root of what I work on with my clients, is saying like, hey, like, let's get to this point where there's no shame around knowing or not knowing, and it doesn't mean anything bad about you if you don't. And that's part of this community as well, like encouraging that, fostering that feeling of like, hey, we're all in this together, and it doesn't mean anything bad about you if you don't know what to do.
Well put. And Christina, it's a really powerful introduction to your role in Shape and Foster as one of the 6 coaches. I really appreciate the insight, and I know that a lot of people will be helped because of the guidance that you're providing. So stay warm there in Chicago. Thanks for checking in with us. We've got to get to another break. When we come back, we'll go to the physical fitness side of things as Ty McDonald, the athletic trainer for Shape and Foster, joins us when the Big Impact continues. We are heading down the home stretch of this edition of the Big Impact, talking about the lifestyle program, the app called Shape and Foster. Our special guest is the founder, Callum McGuigan, and we are now turning our attention to the physical improvements that all of us sign up for every December 31st and January 1st. We all do it every time, and this time we want it to stick for you. So Callum, bring in the trainer.
So our athletic trainer at Shape and Foster is Ty McDonald. I've been fortunate enough to actually meet Ty in person. I'm in Toronto. He's also in Toronto. And in the summer, he actually joined like a Friday volleyball kind of like pickup game that we have. On the first week, he was quite obviously had never played volleyball, and in the final week he was the best player on the court, which kind of just testifies as to his athletic abilities. He's a former NCAA athlete, but what I really, really like about Ty is that I think a lot of people in his industry that are top athletes, they kind of think that everyone else is at the same capability as them, but Ty I think has a great understanding that everyone's at different levels, which is awesome, and was one of the things that really drew me to him. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Ty.
Hey Ty,
how's it going, guys? Hey,
it's going well, and I'm glad to hear Callum say what he did about not everybody being a world-class athlete. I think 100%. That a lot of athletic training and fitness training becomes intimidating if you think you've got to enter into it having already won 3 gold medals.
Yeah. So that's like a common concern of people when I see them walk through the doors for the first time. They're just kind of intimidated by looking at everybody else and what everyone else is doing, not realizing that they've been there, 2, 3, 4, 5+ years already putting in the work, right? And they can do the same thing as long as they, find that consistency in the drive to actually stick through it. So that's kind of a common hurdle that I got to kind of overcome with clients when I first meet them for the first time.
Well, especially if you're starting to reach into a clientele that's a little bit older. I'm 52 and I can't move the way that a 22-year-old does. In fact, when I was 22, I'm not sure I could move the way a 22-year-old did. So how do you, through the Shape and Foster app, how do you get people started on the level that's suited for them?
Yeah, so I think that was a bit of a challenge that Callum and I had to discuss before I even began programming, is how do I make workouts challenging enough for the avid gym goer, but also still manageable for someone who's completely new to this stuff. So what we did was we created videos where, someone could work out with me visually so they can exactly see what I'm doing in the form and technique, etc. But I also have on-screen modifications for every exercise. So whether you're brand new, there's going to be an option for you to be able to get involved and, still get active and do the entire workout, so you get a good workout as well. So I think it's just all about offering the option to have that modification, which in my eyes, I think majority of people will be able to do. And of course, you know, they still have the opportunity to discuss back and forth with me in the comment section whether they can or can't do something, and then I can offer my input there if need be.
And something that's really cool about that, Bill, is we actually great example. We have 2 members in the app. Well, actually, one member who's a lady, Sarah, but her and her husband did one of Ty's workouts just the other day. She did the modifications, and he actually did the full workout. So they both worked out together, but they essentially were able to work out together with the same workout, but with differences in each of the exercises, which was kind of cool.
That's really, really important. In fact, it kind of makes me chuckle because probably, man, it might be 10 or 12 years ago. I can't even remember how many years ago. I decided to get one of the popular DVD, it was a DVD series before everything went online, from one of the famous fitness programs. I won't name it.
Yeah.
And everybody in the video was a very young hard body, and the exercises were, you know, I mean, we were flopping around like we were in Navy SEAL training. And a few weeks in, because I had the chart, you know, I was keeping track of everything in the chart, and I wanted to check off the things, and I was going to earn the T-shirt.
Yeah.
And then I ended up in the doctor's office because my knee was about, you know, twice its normal size.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, what have you been doing? And I told him the name of the program. He said, what is the matter with you? Because I wasn't suited for that. So
yeah,
that's why I raised the question about making sure that you provide some avenue for those that still want to do something. And by the way, I have a friend who is a Navy SEAL, and I remember texting him and saying one time a couple of years ago, when I was feeling kind of lazy, I said, I just don't have the motivation. And in true SEAL form, he responded, it's not motivation, it's called discipline.
100%.
Okay, well, you know, make me feel bad. But that is kind of what this comes down to, right? If you're going to make a commitment, you've got to make a commitment.
100%. I think it's just about the reason why I like the whole idea of Shape and Foster when Callum reached out to me about it was because it's not a matter of putting in hours and hours and hours in the gym. You can have a 20-minute block of time during your day, which I think anybody can find if they really want to, and still get a great workout in, get your heart rate up, and start making positive impacts towards your health and your fitness, right? So I just feel like it's the whole manageable aspect of all this information. You have 6 experts, but you really and truly only need a couple of hours every month to digest some of the best information in the industries, right? In the respective industries. So it's just all about making it manageable and sustainable for the individual, because I feel like if you're throwing too much at one time at any individual, the likelihood of it sticking is very low, right? So and I think the snowball effect is actually also a very relevant thing in this, where I try to encourage people to make one small change, you know, maybe per month. If you can get that one small change and it becomes a natural part of your routine, then adding on other things is going to become easier, because you're like, oh, well, I achieved this last month, so I can move on to this next step and this next goal of mine. So you'd be surprised at how quickly these things can kind of like pile on top of each other, and you could be a whole brand new person by 2022, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I'll ask this to Callum or Ty, why you think it is that the usage level, again, in normal times, but the usage level in a gym is peaked through the roof January, February, and then mid-March, things kind of get back to where they used to be, and it's not so crowded, and you can get on the machines that you like so much. Why does the commitment go away so quickly?
I can definitely answer this, but I don't know if Callum has anything to chime in on.
No, this is all you. This is your expertise.
I really think it just goes back to, like, for example, when you were saying you're doing the at-home program that you were doing, where people try to do too much too soon, and it's not sustainable for their lifestyle and their goals, right? So when I work with a client for the first time, and I look for kind of red flags. When someone comes to me and says, well, how do I achieve this body in 3 months, for example? That's a red flag for me already, because oftentimes what they can achieve within that time frame isn't as much as they're hoping for. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to them and say, yeah, it's attainable or sustainable, because by the time, even if I was to have some, magic diet and workout plan that actually got them to that goal within that time frame, the likelihood of them being able to sustain that past that is very, very low. It's not non-existent. So I try to be as realistic as possible right out the gate and say, we can get to your goal, but this is a more reasonable time to do it, that I feel comfortable that you'd be able to sustain it even once you're past working with me or training with me. And that's what I try to instill in all my clients. Don't just come here to reach a goal and then rebound as soon as we're done. Try to find a way to make it a part of your lifestyle. So you don't need to hire a trainer once you reach that goal. You can continue to do the little things that matter and make the biggest impact afterwards.
Well, and there's also I think a real big downside to the short term, I'm going to kill myself to fit into the dress or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then right afterwards, everything goes out the window again because you looked good for the wedding on that one day or whatever the analogy would be. And Callum, the Shape and Foster approach is designed in all 6 aspects, from what I understand, to be long-term, not short crash and burn.
100%. I liked what Ty said about sustaining. I think that sustaining is a good kind of way to look at it. I mean, how many people, or maybe yourself, like, I don't know, how many people do you know that have done some crazy diet and they've hit their goal weight, for example, but then 6 months later or 12 months later, they're kind of back to where they started? That quick impact, short-term results, as you say, like to fit into the dress or whatever it may be. Through my personal experience, as I started with, as I said at the start of the show, like I went through some changes over the course of a few years. It took me a few years to go through some changes. So really, it's through my personal experience I thought that, you know what, that this doesn't have to be a 2-month quick thing, because it's not going to work like that. That's why it is a slower paced 12-month program or course, if you like. I just think it's easier to sustain it if it's little pieces of information that you're adding into your life over the course of 12 months. Total videos, including all of that. I nearly said dad there. Very strange. I don't know. I had like a brain malfunction. Including all of Ty's workout videos, total videos is 106. So the course, the 12-month, all the expert videos, Ty's workout videos, there's 106 total videos to consume. Can you imagine you joined something and you were sent 106 videos at the same time? Like, you're not going to progress. It's going to be the start and finish of your Shape and Foster experience at that moment. So we're drip feeding content over the course of 12 months because we want you to watch every video. We want you to take something from every video. We want you to interject actions from each expert into your life every single month. And over the course of 12 months, like, it's completely doable. It's completely doable.
Well, Ty, I'm going to let you go here shortly, but I just want to give you a final word to our audience regarding their potential, whatever that potential is, the potential to improve and to be more healthy, according to whatever definition that is. You're the coach. Do some motivating here on the way out.
Honestly, I'd say just don't overwhelm yourself too quickly. Like you said, everybody wants to be a new person January 1st, and then by March 1st, they completely fallen off. So I guess my best piece of advice would be to start simple. Start with 10 minutes a day. Go for a walk. If you're completely inactive right now, go for a 10-minute walk. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example, something that you can adhere to for the long term. And then once that becomes a part of your lifestyle, add on to that in some way, whether it's an at-home workout or you go to the gym once a week with a accountability partner or whatever it may be. You have an entire accountability group inside the Shape and Foster app. So I think that's another great aspect of the app, where you not only get the content that you need to be doing on a regular basis that's manageable, but you also have people who you can rely on who are also doing it alongside you, whether it be the other members or the coaches and the experts. So yeah, the best piece of advice, start simple, but just get started.
I like it. Hi, thank you so much. He is the athletic trainer, one of the 6 coaches for the Shape and Foster program. And Callum, as we wind things down, I think we should close out with a core piece of information. We've talked about the app and the coaches and the different applications throughout. Let's bring people in now on what the cost is for the program, and so that we can really let them head away from this conversation with something to think about.
So if you go to www.shapeandfoster.com, you can start a 14-day free trial. So everyone gets a free trial of 14 days to see if it's for them. Stick your head inside the app if you like, or the web version. If it is for you, which I think it will be, like, with great feedback so far. Obviously, I am the biggest advocate, but but I think it will be. The cost is $299 per year, or $29.99 a month. So if you go annually, you essentially get 12 months for the price of 10.
And as we said at the outset of our conversation, you're right now in the early launch days. We're talking on January 4. Many people in our audience will be taking in the conversation further down the road, but there's a kind of a special early incentive right now to get in the first quarter of the year, right?
Yeah, sorry, you're absolutely right. So January and February is founder member pricing. So $299 per year. On March the 1st, that actually goes up to $399 per year. So you're getting $100 off as well if you come in January or February.
Yeah, that's a motivation to not procrastinate, to get things rolling right off the bat. It's a fascinating concept, Callum. I really appreciate you introducing us to it. And there are smart people out there who come up with really good ideas, and Shape and Foster required, I know, an incredible amount of work and planning on your part as you talk about 100+ video fitness lessons and all the different coaching sessions. There's been a lot of production work going on, by the way, during a pandemic. None of this is easy to put together. So for you, how do you define whether this whole thing has been worth it?
I think that it's been worth it personally already, because I previously had another business. I was in business for 11 years. The first 9 years of my business I really enjoyed. The last 2 years I stopped enjoying it. And Shape and Foster for me has already got my fire back. Like I believe in this so much. I believe that this is going to have a positive impact on more people's lives than my previous business did, which was a marketing agency. And we would essentially have marketed whatever we had, whatever came through the door, whether or not that was quick service restaurants or big tobacco. There wasn't a feel-good factor to that. There's a feel-good factor around this. As far as business success, it'll be defined, I think, probably by the end of this year. Like our target is to end the year with 700 members. Hopefully we'll have 700 members end the year. Hopefully we'll have 2,000 members. But from a personal standpoint, it's already successful.
Well, thank you for introducing it to us. Again, everybody, you have a 14-day free trial at shapeandfoster.com. You can get the app, no cost. Try it out, take it for a test drive, and if you find the benefits are in it, then you'll have the membership information right here, and you can go back to the website and sign up fully. Callum, here's hoping for the best for your efforts and for the entire team. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate the time to chat.